Hey Ken, how you doing?
All right, how are you, John?
Um, is this an offense in crisis?
No, I think when you look at us, we were able to do a lot of good things, especially there in the second half. In the first half of that last game, I think there was some good sustained drives. We just got to finish those drives. We got down the red zone and had the penalty on the one touchdown, and then we had the obviously they got us on a pressure there and put us behind the chains. So I think those were signs that it's something that as an offense we can go out and execute at a high level. I think we showed that. I think we showed a lot of mental toughness and character to come back in that game and play the way we did in the second half. So we gotta build and continue to build off those things and make sure that we keep growing and keep putting ourselves in position to be successful.
Is there a concern though, because this has become a trend about being a slow starting offense for the past 3 weeks? Is that a concern because you haven't been able to build off what you've been hoping to build off these past 3 weeks?
I think no matter when we're on the field, our expectation is to drive it and move the ball and score points. So whether that's first half, second half, overtime, whenever that might be, our goal is to consistently be effective as an offense and put points on the board. So that's the objective, whether it's first half or second half or whatever portion of the game it is.
You feel you need to get to answers quicker though.
I feel like going into the game, we have a good plan of what we want to do. I think we didn't alter or go completely sideways and completely alter our game plan there in the second half. It's just we just got to continually go out and focus on us and focus on what we have to do to score points.
And just last thing from me, do you think you're using the middle of the field enough? A lot of your throws in the first half seem to be toward the sideline. I'm just wondering.
Again, I think that's an area that we always try to attack, and I think that in a lot of ways, a lot of that's going to depend on what a defense is doing to you. If they've got a lot of guys in the middle, then you got to attack the outside. So we're focused on being an offense that's balanced in how we're attacking a defense in the passing game, short, intermediate, deep, inside the numbers, outside. I think that's important for us and something that we're not going to force it. We're going to continually focus on making sure that we're taking what a defense is giving us and attacking a defense in multiple ways. But at the same time, we want to generate opportunities to attack those different areas.
Thanks, Ken.
Mhm.
Hi, Ken. We were talking to Sean, and he said that he's doing everything he can to make sure things are the way he wants it in all three phases. And I'm curious, what's the dynamic of, I don't want to say your relationship, but in terms of game planning, how much is he involved and what's the kind of cadence throughout the week?
Yeah, I mean, definitely has some input and is definitely has a philosophical idea of what he wants, and that's something that continues to blend in with our offense. So he's obviously got a great mind for the game, and as a defense coach in this league a long time, an understanding on how to attack defenses. So it's something that we continue to blend in with offense.
Is that a challenge sometimes? Like, a lot of times different ideologies are probably a good thing if they are even different. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but meeting those two visions together, has that ever been a challenge?
I think it's something that has continued to help us develop as an offense, and given us some different looks that is a little bit different for a defense. So I think there is that balancing act of what we want to do on offense and those different areas to make sure that we're not going too heavy on one side or the other.
And then late in the game, this past week especially, but in a couple of the recent games, it seemed like when you guys went up tempo, you found a lot of success there. Historically, you've done well when you've run no huddle. Have you given any consideration to maybe starting out the games that way at all?
Um, I think when you look at, I mean, our we've had success driving the ball. We've just got to sustain those drives, and however that's going to get it done is how we got to do it. If it's tempo, if it's under center, gun, whatever, personnel. Those are all things that yes, we look at. And then when you get into those no huddle situations at the end of the game, and you can be effective. Yeah, you definitely, you always consider those things, but at the same time, the defense is a little different and some of those different things. So you got to gauge those things on how much you want to use it, and when you want to use it. So it's all things that yes, we look at. And we're going to continually evaluate to make sure we're putting our guys in the right spots.
Last one for me. Sorry to monopolize, but Gabe said something last week where it was about like simplifying the game plan. Did you feel like you were effective at doing that last week? And is it something that you have to continue to emphasize, maybe simplifying things and leaning into the easy buttons, if you will, a little bit more in what you guys do well?
Yeah, I think that's something that, obviously we focused on last week to make sure, guys were able to play fast and play confident. And I think we've got a good group that's, smart and dependable. And the more we can allow them to play fast as possible without thinking, the better off we'll be. So I think that's something that will continually be a balancing act for us to make sure we got enough to attack a defense while at the same time not putting too much thinking on our guys' shoulders.
Thanks, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ken. Sean had just shared with us that Dawson Knox is going to have wrist surgery. He said he wasn't sure the exact timeline on when he'll be back, but I was curious just kind of, your early thoughts on how that impacts the offense when you guys have been running 12 so much, having no Dawson, and just kind of what he brings to the offense in general.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Dawson's a great player for us. He does so many different things in a variety of different roles both as a blocker and as a pass catcher. So it's definitely going to be an adjustment for us, one that we got to figure out, in a hurry, on a short week. So that's something that it's tough to see because of one, the player he is, but also the person he is. So that's something we're just gonna have to deal with, and we're gonna have to continue to move forward, and we're confident in the guys that we have in that room, and that they'll be able to step up for us.
How much does it have a bigger impact when you guys have been running 12 personnel so much more this year than in years past?
It definitely has that impact. You're forced to adjust some of those philosophical things that you've been doing. But at the same time, I think we still have a room that we can, still utilize and still do some of those types of things, and still keep that portion of our offense intact.
And then with Dalton, he had a strong game yesterday, statistically was his best. So what did you just see out of him? Like, what made him so involved in the game plan, and then how did he perform in it?
Yeah, no, I thought Dalton did a great job. He had a good feel out there, was able to create some separation and get open. And, he just continues to grow as a player and learn with every single, down, every single snap that he takes. So he just continues to grow, and Josh continues to get more and more confidence in him. And I think that's the exciting part for him, that he's really, as a young player, still ascending in terms of his development in this league.
Thanks, Ken.
Mhm.
Hi, Ken. I just wanted to go bigger picture again with this. Going back to I thinking back to the way you guys performed against Miami, right? And then the Jaguars in London in like the last 3 games, right? Have you been able to pinpoint an area what has caused the production of your offense to taper? I mean, to me, it looks like teams having success with pressure, and then it stems from, I know it's not as simple as that, but but have you been able to kind of ID that as maybe a reason, or what's happening connecting between these three games, what defenses are doing that's caused this drop off?
Yeah, I think, each game is kind of uniquely different in terms of what each, defense is kind of doing to us. Some of those games are kind of too high shells playing soft zone. Some of those games are pressure games. Some, what I mean? So at the end of the day, I think the big part for offensive football is you got to focus on yourself, and you got to focus on your execution and how you get the guys, executing at a high level consistently. And how to create some of those explosive plays, to shorten the field as well. So I think those are all things that we look at, because when we're executing, we're moving the ball and we're having success. And, we just gotta, when we do it and we can finish drives, but when we put ourselves behind the 8 ball on some of these things, with some longer third downs and things like that, those are the things that are hard to get out of consistently at times. So we've had some success on third down, here this year and in past. We just got to continue to focus on, being able to extend drives, and just overall just execution. And I don't think it's, to be honest with you, any one thing that a defense is specifically doing to us.
So it's not like Jacksonville came up with something and the Giants saw that on tape, and then Bill Belichick had his own version of that. You see what I'm getting at?
No, yeah. I definitely do. And I really don't think that it's because all those teams are so, uniquely different. I feel like, they've got their own identities, and a lot of these defenses, whether it's a 3-4 or 4-3 or multiple, they're going to do things that are in their mold a lot of times, and not say, well, this team, they're completely different from what we do, but we're going to do that, So I think they definitely, they look and evaluate and see how to attack. But at the same time, there's times where we've had very good success against pressures and blitz and those types of things. So, that's part of the game. There's going to be times where a defense does get you. They've got a good call, and we've got to, make sure that, hey, in those situations, okay, what are we doing to, get ourselves out of it? Whether it's a check, whether it's hey, we got to find our outlet, whether we got to throw it away, in the passing game I'm talking about, and those are things that, we've got to make sure that we're on top of, because there's a lot of good defenses out there, and there's no easy opponents in this league. So there's going to be times where those things come up, and how we handle those things help you for, second down, third down, and so on.
All right. Thank you, Ken.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Ken, just kind of piggybacking off of some of the pressure stuff. On the first touchdown in the fourth quarter, that drive, it seems like you played a little bit faster. And, do you think that had anything to do with maybe the Patriots not blitzing as much on that possession?
That's honestly a tough question for me to answer, without knowing their philosophy. I think, there's times where you utilize some of those up tempo things for that reason, but at the same time, these defenses have seen a lot of those different offenses. So these defenses are so good nowadays at getting into their pressures, whether you're on the line of scrimmage going fast or not. So could that have played a factor? There's definitely that potential. But at the same time, it's hard to say, whether or not a defense is not going to pressure you or not, because in 2 minutes, they'll go all out pressure on you and bring an all out pressure, which they did to us later in that game as well. So, those are things that when you are in no huddle, yeah, you're trying to get specific things done, but at the same time, you've got to be ready for those, those different pressure packages so they don't surprise you.
Outside of a end of half or end of game scenario, what to you kind of, necessitates maybe an up tempo, maybe not no huddle, but just getting from the end of play A to the start of play B faster?
Well, I think, we're always trying to push the tempo in terms of whether we're huddling or not. I want to get the call into Josh as quickly as possible, so that he could get in and out of the huddle and we could push the tempo and constantly be kind of on the attack. And that's the way we view it. Now, I think we could definitely, when you mix in that no huddle stuff, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself balance in what you're able to do out there, in terms of it just not turning into all drop back and those defenders just being able to tee off on you. So those are the different things that you evaluate to make sure that you've got the right things in to utilize those up tempo situations.
How much do all the different pieces that you guys have at your disposal, all the different packages and things of that nature, kind of challenge the idea of trying to push the tempo a little bit?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, because when you're in and out personnels, I think there's two different philosophies. You're staying in a personnel group and pushing that tempo, and putting pressure on a defense coordinator that way, or you're trying to get in and out of different personnel groupings to force them to have to adjust. Hey, they're in this. Hey, they're in this with these guys. And them have to adjust based off of seeing different personnel groupings. So I think there's in my mind, a couple different ways, to put pressure on a opposing play caller and an opposing defense by mixing up, whether it's tempo or mixing up personnels.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Hey, Ken. Just wanted to ask you first, just offensive line, it's a group that's been pretty solid overall this season. Obviously yesterday, tougher day for them. Just your assessment from their performance and just any concern over some long-term things you saw, what could be, any sort of problem with that group.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've done a great job for us this season, and I think they'll continue to do that. I think the more we can vary things for them and help them out in different ways, whether it's runs or RPOs or different actions, drop back, ball out, whatever those different variations are, the more that I think that helps those guys, and they can feel confident in what they're doing.
And then, I know rest is important at this point in the season, getting guys healthy, but with the way the offense kind of feels like they've been underperforming the last couple of weeks, knowing that you get another chance, with Tampa Bay coming up Thursday so quickly, does that actually present maybe just a unique opportunity for them to kind of get that bad taste out of their mouth, so to speak, a little bit quicker on a Thursday than it would be for a Sunday, obviously?
Yeah, no question. I mean, we had our meetings this morning and we were back out, on the field today, and going through things and getting ready for Tampa Bay. So you've really got no choice but to turn the page and start focusing on the next opponent, which is, a team that's coming in here that's extremely aggressive and, got a lot of talent on defense. So it's going to be a big challenge for us on a short week.
And then one more for me, Ken. I just want to ask you about Latavius Murray. So far, just what you've seen from him, what he's brought to this backfield, how he's fit in to this locker room, and then kind of coupled in, it was a multiple point question here, just what he's done for James in terms of just
Mhm.
having that another veteran in that backfield to, get James acclimated with the NFL.
Yeah, no, Latavius extremely professional, extremely hardworking, great power and ability to pop some big runs off for you as well. So, he plays physical and obviously the experience that he has is, I think, invaluable in that room and for our offense. So I think there's a lot of great qualities that he brings to the table for us. Not only from a veteran experienced guy, but from a guy who could go out and be extremely effective for our offense.
Thanks, Ken.
All right, no problem. Thank you.